In terms of maintenance of the requirements, obviously that means that you have any changes coming through into the requirements. You've got some things that need to be deleted. Some features need to be removed from the product. Some features need to be added in addition. All of those is basically what we call as maintenance, right? The management of requirements. So why do you need to do that? So it is important that we need to understand when and why they changed. So that is really important, because if you want to trace it back in, going back to the traceability of requirements, the reason why that knowledge is important is because you would then be able to understand where the impact is. If you make this small little change in this requirement, what are all the other artifacts that you need to go back and change, or that get affected because of this change in the requirement? Because it's all interrelated, isn't it? So this requirement has been realized, this particular requirement or a feature, for example, a report, create this report of new customer acquisition report, or sales forecast for the next 3 quarters or something like that. If you have got a requirement like that, it is realized in perhaps in the architecture, and then you've got data elements, you've got into the actual development of the code, into test cases. You write so many test cases. If there's any small change here, then obviously they all would get impacted. So we need to understand what are all the areas, what are all the artifacts and all the elements of the code, design aspects that get impacted. Because it's really important to have that, in the sense that we've got these teams rolling and people coming in and out of the teams, and also even products changing so rapidly. For example, you've got this particular report of the customer acquisition, which was developed and deployed into the build in, for example, in April. And then after about a year, if you want to understand, if you want to say that if you want to make any changes into that, and that's not really reflecting on your requirements or on the report, then that's a huge problem. So you need to understand which all things have to be changed in order to accommodate the new changes into the requirement. So it's very, very important that you understand this traceability, the maintenance properly, so you can go and change where it is captured. If you don't have that, then obviously there is no point, and the testing team will not be able to understand what to test, and so also the development team will not understand where the code needs to be changed, which block of the code has been implemented to address this requirement. There's no such correlation anywhere. And also obviously that means that the testing would not be done properly, and if the testing is not done properly, then obviously that would result in a lot of problems and defects again. So very important that we capture all of this into the aspect of requirement management, a better requirement management processes, proper documentation. Doesn't mean spending too much time and effort and money into that, but essentially it can be lightweight in the context of the agile working nowadays. But still, there needs to be some method to the madness, some way that we do this, in whatever little way that we can do, we still have to do this. And otherwise we'll lose that sense of handle on the requirements and how they are actually captured. So again, if we think about, for example, if you've got a billing system, right, in a bank that has, or an invoicing system in an organization that needs to be fixed, right? So you've got all these different business rules of how to compute or how to come up with a final insurance quote of some, of some actuarial stuff, or how to come up with your insurance quote for your home or for your car. There are so many factors that need to be considered in the variables that need to be considered in. If you do not have a proper sense of understanding in terms of where these are captured, what business rules are affecting what code and what design, then obviously when you try and, when the rules change, the business rules change, when the taxes change, when the variables change, when, for example, the interest rate changes, or when some of the factors that contribute to this quote changes, then you don't have a clue as to where that is actually captured and how that needs to be changed, or where that needs to go. Where do you need to refer to that business rule? Where is that business rule in the first place? You don't have a clue. So it's important we have got that firm hand on the nerve in terms of where that particular aspect of the requirements has been captured, how is it done, and then you can actually make any changes that you have coming your way. In terms of the maintenance of requirements, the input-output diagram, obviously we have the requirements and design coming in as inputs. And then within this activity, you've got the information management approach, because maintenance requirement is all about communication, is all about ensuring we have the correct information in the correct place to the correct level of detail. And that's what is all about information management approach that we had looked at in the previous set of knowledge areas. So that essentially is going to be one of the key factors that is important for us. And once we have that, we manage the requirements better, we maintain them in a way that is very easy to accommodate any changes later. And so once that is done, we have got the maintained requirements as the output from